What's up guys, welcome for another dose of quick reviews, this time focusing on films. Let's get straight into it with Murder Mystery, a Netflix film from Adam Sandler, co-starring Jennifer Aniston. This is one of Adam Sandler's best comedies in quite a while. It's a very basic, generic comedy by all means. It's essentially a new version of Cluedo. A couple goes on vacation, or holiday if you're here in the UK. On the way they meet an interesting guy who invites them to his yacht. There is where the red flags are coming up already. On the yacht they meet a bunch of interesting individuals like Gemma Arterton, then you got Terence Stamp in there, David Walliams, a bunch of familiar names and faces in there, all of which playing unique, interesting characters. And all of a sudden, bang, the lights go out, someone ends up dead. Who did it? That's essentially what the film's all about. Adam Sandler, a cop from, I believe, New York, and Jennifer Aniston getting caught up in this murder mystery, trying to work out who it is. It's very by the books, mystery, comedy, and it's fun, it's entertaining. If you've got a spare 90 minutes, I kind of recommend it. You'll probably enjoy it. And there's nothing in there that's like laugh out loud hilarious, but it's presented well, the acting's good, the characters are likeable and relatable. Yeah, it's a fun little film, and one of Adam Sandler's best in quite a while. Yesterday is a film that I reviewed for my channel. You can go check out the full review there. But just quickly, this is a film inspired by the songs and music of the Beatles. Essentially, a guy gets into an accident and he wakes up from his coma to realise that the Beatles never existed. Their music no longer exists. No one has any knowledge of who they were or anything. So he, of course, remembers. So he then goes out and tries to make a name for himself in the music industry by recreating the Beatles' famous songs. And of course everyone thinks he's actually made these songs. So it's a good film, it's a fun film. Danny Boyle directed it, Richard Curtis wrote it. You can totally tell it's a Richard Curtis film, you can totally tell it's a Danny Boyle film. And Lily James is in there, she's brilliant. Kate McKinnon's in there, she's good. The film really does pay homage to the Beatles, and it's a love letter to the Beatles. It's very colourful, very bright, it's a feel-good movie in many ways. It's classed as a comedy. It's not the funniest thing ever though. It's much more of a rom-com, and all the Beatles stuff is kind of not really the most important, significant part of the film really. So I do recommend it. Go check out my full review for more details. It's a fun, enjoyable film. The Happytime Murders. Yeah, The Happytime Murders. This is from the people who done the Muppet movies and who created the Muppets. Well, the son of the guy who created the Muppets. It stars Melissa McCarthy in a world where puppets and humans exist at the same time. It's an interesting premise and one that I love. But the problem is this film tries to push buttons, it tries to be edgy and out there just for the sake of it. That's all the comedy that's in this film is trying to do. It's trying to be vulgar and crass. It's trying to be provocative. And most of the comedy in here is just shock value. It is sometimes funny. I'm not going to get me wrong there. But it feels like there could have been way more to this. It could have been way smarter, way more subtle in its approach. The characters are essentially generic, stereotypical crime noir characters. That's not necessarily a bad thing, because the quirk of them being puppets and so on kind of adds something there, I think. I'm a big fan of the Muppets, full disclosure, so to see puppets in this way, in this style, is really interesting, I thought. But the execution's not quite there, and the film is pretty on the short side as well. There's like 15 minutes of credits, and the film's less than an hour and a half, I think, overall. And it risks along. The story's not all that interesting. The story's very predictable as well. I knew straight away what the actual central mystery was, so that was disappointing. But Melissa McCarthy's good in there. The main voice of the main puppet, whose name I'm forgetting, he's good. But again, it is essentially just crime noir, very traditional crime noir, but with puppets. And then there's the edgy humour and comedy in there, which is just shock value. But you might enjoy it. It's something different, that's the best I can say about this. SpiderMan Far From Home. This is another one you can go check out my full review on my channel. Great film, really good film. Wraps up Marvel's Phase 3. Yes, Phase 3. It deals with the aftermath of Avengers Endgame, and it also establishes some things that might be relevant moving forward. And it does a good job of being both a sequel and of Spider-Man Homecoming and Avengers Endgame. It delves right into Peter Parker trying to balance his life as a superhero, but also his personal life and the problems that come with mixing them up together. There are some great surprises in there, great twists in there. Then you got Mysterio, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. Mysterio, of course, one of the iconic comic book characters. This is his first outing in live action. I think they do a really good job depicting who he is, what his powers are, especially in a modern sense, to make some sort of sense of it. I'm not going to go into spoilers, so don't worry. And yeah, it's a really good Spider-Man film, one of the better Spider-Man films. You can also check out my other video, Spider-Man Movies Ranked. This film's not on there, but I can tell you this would be pretty high up. Fighting with My Family. So Fighting with My Family, another film that I reviewed on my channel. Go check that out as well. And just briefly, this is the story of this is the story of former WWE Pro Wrestler Paige. And it shows you how she went from being a independent British wrestler to get into the WWE, and it's a really good, fun film. It's very funny. It's written, directed by Stephen Merchant, produced by The Rock, who's also in the film a little bit. It does a good job of showing how important and significant Paige was for the wrestling scene. However, it should be noted, any wrestling fans like myself who know Paige's story really, really well will find some issues with things that are being omitted, things that are being overlooked. So there are certain key individuals who just aren't in the movie. There's also characters like Vince Vaughn who don't exist in real life, and I'm not sure who Vince Vaughn's character is based on at all. So there are some things like that which will frustrate wrestling fans, especially when there are key, very important things that are just not there. But overall, it's a good film. It's a fun, enjoyable film. And I do recommend it, even if you're not a wrestling fan whatsoever. Also, Florence Pugh, who plays Paige, brilliant. Check out my full review for more on that one. Final film I'm talking about today, because I want to keep it short and to the point, is The Captain. This is a German film about World War II. Basically, a German Nazi soldier gets cold feet, tries to defect, he's hunted down, they can't find him. Along the way, he stumbles across an abandoned car, and in that car is a German officer's uniform. So, in order to help him escape, he puts on that uniform and he pretends to be a German captain. So that's kind of where the film goes from there. And what the film does really well is delving into whether he's doing the things he's doing simply to maintain his cover and to not get caught and so no one realizes who he really is, or is he doing it because he wants to. It does a really good job at looking at that, and it's, like I said, it's a German film, it's a World War II film, so it's good to see a German perspective on World War II and this story in particular. It's set during the end days of World War II when America has invaded. They are gaining tail on Hitler. So the film is dark, really dark at times. It's tough to watch. It progressively gets tougher and tougher to watch because there are some horrific things going on. And again, it deals with how much of this is simply him wanting to do this, how much of this is him simply trying to keep his cover. Because he is pretending to be someone he isn't. He's pretending to be a captain. So, yeah, it gets really grim, really dark, really twisted at times. But the central performance is brilliant. I really like that guy. And it's strange because he is a Nazi. He is doing some horrible things. But particularly in the beginning of the film, it makes him relatable. It makes him somewhat sympathetic because he is defecting. There must be a reason for that. It never actually delves into the reason for that. But there's a reason that he's leaving or wanting to leave the Nazi regime, wanting to leave the army. And then as the film progresses, again, what exactly is his motive? Yeah, and it does a good job of working that out. I do recommend it. It's an interesting, good little German World War II film. And that's all the reviews I'm doing right now. This is part one. I'm going to do another part after this, so keep your eyes peeled on that coming in the coming weeks. I'm Grant Burton. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @_Grant Burton. Most importantly though, subscribe to my channel. Yeah, more subscribers I get, the more success this channel will have, the more content I'll be able to produce. And we all love that content. So also give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, whatever you want. I prefer a thumbs up though, if I'm honest. And leave comments and feedback down below. You can also go over to twitch.tv/the_Grant Burton and watch me play some video games every now and then. And I believe that's everything. Like, subscribe, share. Yeah, share this across social media as well. If you don't like it, someone else might. It'll also help grow my channel, get some more attention and some more eyes onto my content. So yeah, any sort of support though, really be appreciated. Until next time though, thanks for watching.